every time. So yes, we'll just pass it on to somebody who hasn't gone next, and I'll pass it to Shauna. Thank you.
I'm Shauna McDonough, a program analyst here with MMCRC and Manufactured Housing. I'll pass it to Ben.
Well, this is Ben Roach down here in Millersburg, Oregon at the Cavco Millersburg Palm Harbor Homes Manufacturing Factory. And I'll pass it over to Jody since I almost kicked her out.
Jody Lyon, I'm the Executive Director for the Oregon Manufactured Housing Association. I'll just be boring and keep it OMHA. Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Rez. I'm with Evergreen Home Loans, and then I'm also the Vice President of the Oregon Manufactured Housing Association, and I'm in Canby, Oregon today. Oh, I'll pass it to Eddie.
Hi, I'm Eddie Cepeda. I am the program navigator with Energy Trust of Oregon. Everett.
Good morning. I'm Everett Horvath. I am the replacement navigator for Oregon Housing and Community Services, and I will pass it over to Judy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Judy Farrell, Program Analyst, Manufactured Homes Marinas Community Resource Center, and Cindy.
I am Cindy Buckner, Program Analyst with MMCRC, and I run the registration for the manufactured home parks in Oregon and marinas. Can't forget our marinas. And I will pass it to Talia.
Hey everyone, I'm Talia Concrevis, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of Homeownership Programs here at OHCS, and I'll pass it to Rick.
Good morning, Rick Abrego, Assistant Director for Manufactured Housing and the MMCRC. And how about Kelly at CASA?
Oops. Good morning. I'm Kelly Castanero with CASA of Oregon. I'm the Communications Manager, and I will pass it to Rachel.
Hi, y'all. I'm Rachel Bidu, she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Policy and Asset Management at NOAA, and I'll pass it to Keeble.
Hi, good morning. Keeble Juscombe, Director for Homeownership at OHCS. Thank you so much. He, his pronoun. I don't know who to pass it to. I just came in a little bit late.
Nikki?
Did we? Yeah, Nikki.
Hey, I'll turn my camera on. I'm Nikki, Program Navigator for the Manufactured Home Replacement Program with Energy Trust and down here in Southern Oregon. And who do I pass it to now? Judy, did you go?
How about the gentleman on the phone? I forgot.
I think that's Nathan.
Nathan? Okay.
Hey, good morning. This is Nathan Clark, he, him. I am on the government relations team at OHCS. Apologies that I'm on the phone. I am listening, but dealing with flea infestation that we're trying to finish today. So I will be listening and available to chat as needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. I believe that's everyone, and I apologize if we missed anybody on introductions. It doesn't look like we have anybody still coming into the meeting, so I'll move us forward in our agenda. First up, we have an update for the Manufactured Home Replacement Program on our 2025 to 2027 biennium applications. We are still waiting on a final decision as far as what our budget is going to be. But we have a very large pool from our application period, open application period we had from August to October, that Everett and Adrian have been working with those applicants and going through and processing those projects for feasibility and project costs and so forth for when we do know, what the budget will be and how many projects we can move forward with once we know that that decision. I believe we will know the answer to that sometime towards the end of February. And depending on what the funding is, we'll be able to complete anywhere between 5 and 20 home replacements for this biennium. Our goal is to replace a pretty even split between preserved parks and fee simple to accomplish home replacements in counties throughout the state that we haven't touched yet with this program, gaining some geographic diversity and some more rural replacements. With preserved parks being concentrated in our more metropolitan areas, a lot in the Portland area and Salem areas, it's a little more difficult with preserved parks getting some rural replacements. Although we are looking at, there's a few parks in Southern Oregon that we haven't done replacements in, so we're looking at getting some in down there. See, that's about where we're at. Hopefully some of those projects can start soon. We have been looking at getting started because we do have the energy efficiency grant through that public purpose. Is it public purpose? Is it a surcharge? I can never remember the name of it. However, for the PGE and Pacific Power customers, we may be able to begin looking at some projects before we know what our replacement loan funding is. We might be able to begin some projects with the energy efficiency grant only in preserved parks. So we could get started a little sooner on those. Am I missing anything else, Everett, that we could update before we know towards the end of February?
No, I think we've put out the information to vast majority of the applicants that we're still waiting on what happens in the short session to see what our budget's going to look like. To reiterate what Carrie said, and hopefully we start executing replacements with the ECHO dollars, and hopefully that'll happen in the next week or so.
Does anybody have any questions about those?
Did we finally settle on a number of applications? Did we say that, or did I just miss it, or that we received?
The total number? Is that what you're asking, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, it's right about 120 right now. I think the total number is 127, but there was 7 that were incomplete, and we haven't been able to contact the applicants in the last 90 days. So I'm assuming that they've dropped off.
So that's 127 received in 90 days. So that's some significant interest for a short application period.
Yeah, and yeah, just to let everybody, for those who are new, the application were closed because we received so many, and we're trying to receiving more applications that we're already going to have more demand than we have funds, so we decided to just go ahead and close it off. And for those who aren't familiar, these 2 programs are unique in the sense that we work directly with the homeowner on these projects, so that we have a very intimate relationship with them. And both Everett and Eddie both work on both sides to assist these people through the whole thing, the application process. If there's a language barrier, we meet the language barrier and just try to help out where we can. let's see, am I missing anything else, Eddie and Everett?
No, I mean, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the price grant. And any updates on that. I do have Shauna and Rick on there, but Talia is also on that, on the preservation side of price. So if the three of you have any information for the committee.
Rick, do you want to share?
Sure. So right now, we're not quite sure what we're, where we're standing with that. There's some documentation that needs to be submitted by OHCS and or the governor actually. And so, but we are looking at hopefully getting some of these funds, but we won't know for sure I'm not even sure when we would know for sure. But so this program is on hold from right now until we have further notice on that. Talia, on your side, anything you want to share with that?
Yeah, I think that's the update. We're
No
hopeful
worries.
that we'll be able to get the funds, but it's still on hold.
Sorry, folks, not a whole lot of information on that as we move forward. Hopefully, we'll have something. Looks like with the short session, who knows, maybe everything will be settled after the short session. But we really don't have any type of any more knowledge on that other than what we just shared with you. So we'll keep you posted as we move along.
Because the price grant could happen at any time, should I keep it on the agenda since this committee meets every other month? In the event that there is an
Yes.
update, a sudden update.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
That way it doesn't fall off the table.
Okay.
Is there any visibility that you could maybe explain? We've got a couple of new members, and I'd like to make sure that I know that Jody has been on a couple of our meetings, and Vanessa's, I think this might be her first meeting in here. As to, you talked about that in a prior meeting, but the specific documentation that OHCS is needed to provide to HUD on the price grant program?
Oh, you
That's
mean
a
the
good-
amendment?
Yeah, just there's you mentioned that there's some documentation that needs to be submitted from OHCS and the governor, and
To
you know,
HUD.
to HUD.
Yeah. I don't think we have any more information about it, but I can send you. I mean, I don't know where that is now. Keeble may know more information about it.
Oh,
The amendment that initially was holding had price back. Now I think it's kind of evolved into something else. So I don't want to really say.
There's been a number of inquiries that I've received in terms of manufactured home community preservation, how the impact of the latest rent control that passed last session on manufactured home communities is impacting supply, and then also any new manufactured home communities that might be planned for future development. And so those are kind of the things that I'm hearing from other members of the association, some of our retail members that sell manufactured homes, new manufactured homes, and a few electeds have reached out to me knowing the work that I do in affordable housing advocacy, asking too, what can they look at in short session in terms of needs. And one of those things that I've always pointed out is this manufactured housing community preservation and preserving the affordability of the home sites, retaining hopefully residentially owned communities. And like recently I've seen in the news the discussion of how industrial investors and large real estate investment trusts are buying up communities and how that impacts affordability, especially in areas in the West where we see housing pressures. So I know you guys may not have answers on manufactured housing advisory should be aware of all those kind of pressures that are put in place for affordability of housing, especially manufactured housing.
I'd like to jump in, Ben. I really appreciate some of the things you just shared. As an agency, we are looking into the amendment and how and doing our assessment and due diligence with the Price Act. So there are things that we're still processing through, and we could hopefully get to a decision soon. But we're definitely going through the amendment and also working with our lawyers and see where we will land. So that's something that we're consistently working on right now.
All right.
And before we move on from this, Ben, were you requesting some history for Vanessa and Jody on the Price grant and sort of why it's on hold
Why it's
right now?
yeah, why it's on hold, and maybe a little more
Okay.
detail if we could be shared about the amendment we're talking about.
Let's work with Nathan to see what we can share with that. I want to make sure what we can and can't send
We
out.
jump into some of the broad piece why it's on hold. It's just we're looking at some of the amendment to see if it's possibly legally binding and if it's something that we could work with or not. And we're looking at other jurisdictions and see what the courts have decided so far. So those are some of the stuff that we're working through right now to figure out if it's something that we could move forward with. And I really feel good that we've been doing a lot of thorough analysis and working close with our DOJ partners on those things.
Hey, this is Nathan Clark with the GR team. I just want to say I concur with Keeble on that, and I think it's just they're asking a lot in this that's really at times irrelevant to the work we're trying to accomplish with this. So that the thorough analysis is really key to make sure that we don't have any unintended consequences with this in the future. But thanks for that summary, Keeble.
I think that pretty much satisfies what I was asking. I would probably move on to the park preservation because I'm interested in if that's had some progress there.
Okay. If there are no other questions about the Price grant, I'll hand it over to Talia for park preservation.
Sure, thanks, Carrie. Yeah, I have two updates on park preservation. One is, as most of you probably know, we got 2.5 million in lottery-backed bonds for park preservation in the last session, which was a lot lower than originally requested in our agency budget and by partners. And then at the same time, we've also been transitioning that program internally within OHCS from the Affordable Rental Housing Division to homeownership. So in order to maintain consistency and not cause any confusion among partners, we're in that transition, we're keeping the program the same. We had some applicants come in for the final remaining funds from the last biennium that we're still processing on the rental side. And then this 2.5 million in lottery-backed bonds will become available on January 26th when homeownership releases its homeownership development NOFA. And so basically what that will look like is there will be an intake with just basic information that anybody interested in these funds fill out to make sure they're eligible. It's like a 5 to 10 minute intake form. And then once you fill that form out, you'll get a work center and the application will be the same as it was under affordable rental housing. So that might be more information than people care, but just a heads up that we're leaving things the same for now. We do plan to go to Housing Stability Council tomorrow to present about our plan for this use of funds. and talk about the reasons why we're leaving it the same. It's also just important to note that it's available. These funds are available on a first come, first serve basis. So once those funds launch, really encourage you to go in, fill out that intake form, get your work center open. If you want to see what the past application looked like, feel free to reach out to me. We're happy to share, just so that you can start getting ready. And then our team can also offer technical assistance in filling out that application. So feel free to reach out to me anytime. And then, so that's happening. That's going to happen right away in the next month. But then simultaneously, we're working on a longer term strategy for the use for manufactured housing preservation to help us really plan for, if and when we do get more funding, how do we strategically use this funding, and how do we really align our longer term vision and goals and program framework with the work that's happening in the community. And so we're starting this year, we're hitting the ground running with doing a lot more engagement and conversations with all of you. And so as a first part of that, we today are launching a survey to get some more information about your priorities and goals and use of data. And so I wanted to post the survey link in the chat now, and we'd love for your input. I don't think it will take too long, and there aren't a lot of required questions, so you can fill out whatever is applicable to you. But you have until the 26th to fill out this survey. And this is kind of part one to help us shape this broader vision of how OHCS should be tackling manufactured housing park preservation. After this survey, we'll share out our findings. I'll come back to this group again at your next meeting and share what we learned. And then we'll also be setting up one-on-one calls with anybody interested in kind of taking a deeper dive with us on telling us about their priorities, the needs that you're seeing in the community related to manufactured park preservation. And then the final piece will be really creating this document that outlines our vision, goals, and then kind of a new framework for how we might use the funds in the future. And I think this will really lead up to the 2027 legislative session and help inform our budget ask for that session. So we'll be reaching out to you and coming back to this group all along the way and wanting your input at multiple times. And so this survey is the first chance to give us some input, and would just really love to hear from you through this form, or feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll put my email in the chat. And then last, I'll just also put the link to sign up for a Housing Stability Council, the meeting tomorrow. It's a very long meeting, but you can see the packet on this website that we posted about the plan for the use of the preservation funds, and a little bit about our long-term engagement plan. So yeah, that's what's going on with preservation. Any questions or thoughts?
Holly, can we forward the survey to some folks we think might be good to? Okay.
Please do. Yeah. And I'll also just be sending the survey out in an email to most of the folks on this call. But yeah, I would love if you forward it to anybody that you think should be filling it out. Thank you.
One more thing. I just want to say thanks. Thank you for having a survey so we can respond.
Any other questions or comments about park preservation? Okay. And I'm not sure if Nathan is able to but I was thinking about the, if we're done with park preservation, we have a little bit of time, and I'm thinking of the timeline of the short session and when we will be meeting again. If Nathan has any legislative updates for the committee, we
Yeah.
won't, yeah,
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot, but
No, it's okay. So there's a couple things I'll just highlight for folks. Hi, good morning. Is that we have a short session this year. It's 5 weeks, February 2nd to March 8th. That timeline will move very quickly in those. At this time, we're not really aware of any legislation that's going to be impacting the MMCRC here at OHCS or manufactured home parks. But we will get bills. They drop January 16th. So that's when we will start reviewing all of those in-house and determining what is going to impact us. And I'll have a lot more information then. Next week as well as legislative days. So Tuesday to Thursday, the 13th to the 15th, we will be in Salem, and every committee will meet. Generally at that time, committees will provide an update on the work they're going to do in the short session. And those committees usually have about 3 bills. They also are generally bipartisan bills because not all, but most committees usually try to commit to not putting forward bills that are going to be extremely controversial to their committee makeup, and that will have kind of a broad support there. So we usually don't see anything too insane there, but anything can happen. So that's what we're anticipating. After next week, we'll know a lot more about the short session along those lines, but at this time, we've not seen anything that's going to impact us at the MMCRC. I'm happy to answer any other questions or provide any follow-up later on when we get a little closer.
thank you, Nathan. Any questions about that? Okay. Well, we moved through our agenda really fast, so unless anybody has something to bring to the committee, I guess we can all have a half an hour back.
Lots to do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. See you
Thanks,
next
folks.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.